Let's try answering an easier form of the problem. This might help us think about what we should do. How many batches of brownies could you bake if a recipe requires 1/2 of a cup of sugar and you have 1 cup of sugar at home? This seems a little bit easier. This square is going to represent my 1 cup of sugar. I know 1/2 of a cup of sugar will make 1 batch of brownies. So I'm going to fill up half of my cup and make 1 batch of brownies. So here's a 1/2 cup of sugar, and I know I've made 1 batch of brownies. If I use another 1/2 cup of sugar, I know I'll make another batch of brownies. Now I've used my 1 whole cup of sugar, and I don't have any sugar left at home. Well, I made 2 batches of brownies. Let's pair this with some math. I had 1 cup of sugar, and I wondered how many times did 1/2 go into it? I knew I was able to make 2 batches of brownies, so 1 divided by 1/2 must be 2. Remember, when we divide by a number, we can actually multiply by the reciprocal. We've learned that from before. So I could change this to look like 1 times 2 over 1. Well, remember, I could just put any number over 1, and then multiply fractions like before. 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 1 is 1. 2 over 1 is just 2. Let's change this problem a little bit and see what we can find out. What if instead our recipe called for 1/3 a cup of sugar? I know if I use a 1/3 cup of sugar, I'll make 1 batch of brownies. If I use another 1/3 a cup of sugar, I'll make another batch of brownies. And if I use my last 1/3 a cup of sugar, I'll make 1 more batch of brownies. So let's put this with some math. I was wondering how many times does 1/3 go into 1? So I did 1 divided by 1/3. I know that for every 1/3 cup of sugar, I get 1 batch of brownies, so I should get 3 batches. Remember, when I divide by a number, it's the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. I could change this to multiplication. 1 times 3 over 1. I know 1 is just 1 over 1, so now I can multiply these fractions together. 1 times 3 is 3, and 1 times 1 is 1. I get 3 over 1. 3 divided by 1 is 3 batches. I hope you're starting to see a pattern. Let's see if you can figure this one out.